Good day, everyone. Welcome back to Math 30-2. I hope you're all doing fine. This is Lesson 4 in Unit 1, which deals with logical reasoning and set theory. We're going to be looking today at Venn diagrams. Yesterday we had a lesson on Venn diagrams that was quite extensive. Today's lesson is not going to be nearly as long, but it will involve intersecting sets where there are 3 sets. Yesterday we were looking at Venn diagrams where you had 2 intersecting sets. This time we are going to have 3. Let's take a look at the first example. There's a Venn diagram that's displaying the results of a survey of 100 students. Now I just want to pause here for a second and remind you that when numbers are in a Venn diagram and they are not followed by a dot or a period, then those numbers represent how many items are in the set. So that number 6 in the dead center of this Venn diagram is telling us that there are 6 students in that region. What are the 3 sets here? Well, P represents the set of students who watched the movie Perfect Rebel. C is the set of students who watched the movie Chill. And D is the set of students that watched the movie Dazed. U, of course, is the universal set. And if the universal set has to contain 100 students because 100 students are involved in this survey, that means the sum of all of those numbers is going to be 100. And you can take my word for it, or you can pause the video and add them up. It's going to give you 100. The first question is, how many students watched only Perfect Rebel? Well, that is this region of the Venn diagram. The students who watched only Perfect Rebel are the ones in here. Again, I'm coloring a little outside the lines, but that's just the way of the world. Chalk it up to error. The bottom line is there are only 3 students who are in that region. So the answer to the first question is 3. You cannot include this one student because, yes, they are inside of, I just want to highlight this, that one student is inside of set P. So yes, that one student did watch Perfect Rebel, but that one student is also inside of C, which means that one student, this guy that I'm talking about here, yes, they watched Perfect Rebel, but they also watched Chill. And the question was, how many watched only Perfect Rebel? So we cannot include that one. We only include that region. So that region is only P. How many students watched Perfect Rebel? Well, now what we're talking about is anything inside of set P. So anything inside of this entire set, which is P, represents individuals who watched Perfect Rebel. So what do we have for that? Well, we have these 3 that happen to watch only Perfect Rebel. We have this one, which watched Perfect Rebel and Chill. We have this one, which watched Perfect Rebel and Dazed. And we have these 6 who happen to be inside of all 3. So when we add those together, we get a total of 11. So 11 students watched Perfect Rebel. How many watched Chill and Dazed? So Chill and Dazed, they have to be within both of C and D. And the region that contains C and D is this region. If you were to highlight any other region in this Venn diagram, it would not be inside of C and inside of D. Those are the only ones that are. And if you like, you can just ignore P and it becomes a 2 Venn diagram problem from yesterday. So we add those numbers together. 6 plus 2 is 8. Now, the 2 people in that highlighted region watched Chill and Dazed, and that's all they watched. The 6 people in that highlighted watched Chill and Dazed, but they also watched Perfect Rebel. How many watched Chill or Dazed? Well, that's a union. I'm going to go back and talk about Chill and Dazed. This is the number for the intersection of C and D. When we talk about or, this is the number of the union of C with D. And a union is that snowman shape. So anything in this region is C or D. Anything in this region would be C but not D, or D but not C, or both C and D. Every one of those pieces is C or D or both. So we have to add those all up. Let's see, 68 plus 1. I don't trust myself. I'm going to add the numbers at the top, which is 1 plus 1 plus 6. I mean, I want to just enter 8, but 1 plus 1 plus 6, plus I want to add the 68, plus I want to add the 2, plus the 17. Make sure I've entered them correctly. So 95 students watched Chill or Dazed. How many watched all 3 films? Well, I think that's obvious, that's 6. That's that central point. Those 6 students are inside of all 3 sets. By the way, how many students watched neither? That would be 2. And I don't think that's actually asked. Oh, it is. In F, it says, what does that number 2 outside of the circles represent? It means that 2 of the 100 students did not watch any of those movies. 2 watched none. Example 2, just a general example about your interpretation of Venn diagrams if there's 3 intersecting sets. Shade the region indicated, which is A and B. Well, just ignore C. Don't let C get in your head. Imagine it's not there and you're just looking at the intersection of A and B. Well, the intersection of A and B will be this region here. That's it. Anything in there is in A and is in B. If there is an item that is right here, it's in A and in B. If there is an item that's in here, it's in A and in B. I mean, it also happens to be in C, but these items are still in A and in B. And these items are in A and in B. What about A or B? Well, we just talked about that actually. A or B would be in A but not in B, or in B but not in A, or in both. So it's anything in that entire region. And again, just ignore C when you're asked about a union or an intersection of 2 of the 3. So if you're asked about the union or intersection of A with B, ignore C. Again, or means in A but not B, in B but not A, or in both. That 3 circles represents, that's just me moving some stuff around in here. Don't worry about it. What about A and not B? Well, this is definitely A and not B. And this is A and not B. And you know what? It's the exact same thing I was just talking about. Ignore C. If C wasn't there and I said, what is A and not B? We learned yesterday that this is what it looks like. It's got to be within A, but it can include B. What about A and not B and not C? Well, that would be this. In our previous example, that would be the students who watched only, I don't know the name of the movie, only set P. I can't remember the name. Example 3. At a high school, 185 grade 12 students were surveyed. So the number, I'll just point this out right now. Whatever's going on here, the number in the universal set is 185. They were surveyed about 3 different particular pops or soft drinks. It was root beer, Coke, and orange. 25 drank all 3. 52 drank root beer and Coke, not at the same time. 43 drank Coke and orange. 57 drank root beer and orange. 92 drank root beer. 115 drank Coke. 100 drank orange. Now, if you just glance over those numbers and start adding them up, you're going to get a lot more than 185. And before I get to the question, I want to point out the biggest mistake that people make. They'll maybe look at this. So don't worry about writing anything down. I just want to discuss a few things. They'll maybe look at this, that 52 drank root beer and Coke, and they will assume that those 52 people didn't drink orange. It doesn't say that. It says 52 of them did drink root beer and Coke. Now, some of those 52 might also have drank orange, and some of them might not have. When we talk about, I'll move this down here and talk about this statement, 100 drank orange, there is no reason why we should believe that 100 drank only orange. Some of those 100 might drink only orange. Some might drink orange and Coke only. Some might drink all 3. Some might drink orange and root beer only. And for this reason, when you analyze these Venn diagrams, you always want to work from the center. So here goes. I've got all of the information at the bottom of the screen, so I can refer to it. Sabine started to organize the results in a Venn diagram, starting from the inside and working out, and she put the number 25 in the middle. I hope it's clear why 25 goes in the middle. The reason 25 goes in the middle is because of this statement here. 25 drank all 3. It says, explain why Sabine put the number 27 here. Why would you write 27 here? The reason is the following. That this region is the intersection of Coke and root beer. And down here, you're told 52 drank root beer and Coke. What that means, when I say root beer and Coke, it means that this is N of the intersection of root beer with Coke. And the intersection is that highlighted region. So that highlighted region has to contain 52 people. And in case you're not seeing it, if you take 52, grab my calculator, there it is, and say to yourself, well, 25 are already in the bottom part of that intersection. That leaves 27 for the top part. So right now, if I were to look at what's highlighted in blue on the left of the screen, it's 52, and that's the intersection, which is what's highlighted on the right-hand side of your screen. Continue this process until we get everything done. Well, there's B, I guess I've skipped over. Let's back up and look at B. So we've explained why the number 27 goes where it is. Use similar reasoning to put numbers in the regions to the left and the right of 25. Well, let's just pick one. Doesn't matter. 43 drank Coke and orange. What that means, and I'm going to have to get rid of my shading here because the colors mix and give us yellows and stuff, which I don't want. 43 drank Coke and orange. Well, Coke and orange is the intersection of Coke with orange, which is, there we go. Coke and orange is this intersection, which means that that has to give us 43. So I'm going to take 43 and subtract 25. 43 minus 25 is, I believe, 18. I'll just double check by adding. It's 18. So this number is 18. Because 25 plus 18 will give the 43. If I look at, I hate to assault your visual senses with this horrible magenta, but if we look at this region, that is orange and root beer, and you're told 57 drank orange and root beer. So I need to put a number in that other little part of the wedge of the magenta color that adds to 25 to give 57. And I believe it's 32. And we're going to stop at this point and do a double check of everything. Whoops. Just going to get rid of this stuff. The question is, are there 52 in the intersection of root beer and Coke? Well, that's this region right here. Whoops, let me get this back. There we go. Root beer and Coke is this region. Does that give us 52? Yes. 27 plus 25 is 52. 43 are Coke and orange. 43 are Coke and orange. That is this region here. Does that add to give 43? Yes. 57 are root beer and orange. Root beer and orange are this region. Does that region contain 57? Yes. So now we move on to the next part, which is that 92, the particular colors I'm using to highlight don't mean anything at this point, okay? 92 drank root beer. What this means is that this set has to contain 92. Because 92 drank root beer. So what we need to do is find out what number to put here so that it all adds up to 92. Well, you can use a calculator. I'm going to add the 27, the 25, and the 32. 27 plus 25 plus 32 gives me 70, 84, I believe. I'm just going to double check. 12, 14 is 4, carrier 1, that's 4, 84. So if I need 92, I can take 92 minus 84, and I believe that's 8. And you can just do a check along with me right now. 8 plus 27 plus 25 plus 32 better give me 92. 40, 92, it does. Now what about, and again, don't worry about different colors for different regions. I'm just going to talk about the Coke now. That's this region. That has to be 115. So, you take your calculator. We take 115, which is the total that should be in the Coke set, and we can subtract the 27, and we can subtract the 25, and we can subtract the 18, and we get 45. And I know it may seem odd to do this, but now even though we just did it by subtracting, add those four numbers together, do you get 115? I'm just doing it in my head and my brain just locked up. Sorry about that. 70, 115, and it works out. Now what we do is we move on and we say, well, what about the number who have orange in their drink list? Well, that has to add up to 100, so you're looking for a number that when you put in that missing space will give you 100 in total. When I add up those three numbers in there, I get 75, so I believe, but you can check right now, that this is 25. 25 plus 25 is 50, plus another 40 is, plus another 50 is 100, so that's right. Now, there's one more thing, or a couple more things maybe that we have to do here, but I want to, well, let's do it first. Determine the sum of all of the numbers inside of the circles. So we add all these up together now. I just want to make sure that I transpose that right. 45, 8, and 25. 25, 18, 32, and 27. I did. Okay. So add up all of these numbers. So 45 plus 27 plus 8 plus 18 plus 25 plus 32 plus 25. I'll double check here. Looks good. It gives you 180, but the universal set was 185 because there were 185 students who were surveyed. And that means that this must be 5. There must be 5 students in this region of the Venn diagram. Those students are not in any of the Coke, root beer, or orange sets. Now, listen carefully. All that leading up to D is something that is a good exam question. I could have given you the information at the bottom of this screen here, along with the universal set being 185, and I could have said, how many didn't drink any of them? So I could have said, the number in the universal set is 185, and all of this stuff in red at the bottom of the screen is true. How many drank? None. And the only way you can reliably get that answer is to start in the middle and work your way out until you get to this point. Okay, how many students drank only Coke? Well, that's 45. That's another question I could have asked you from the beginning, but you can't really do it until you complete the Venn diagram. How many did not like to drink any of the 3 drinks? Well, we've already established that's 5. How many drank Coke or root beer? Coke or root beer is the union of these 2 sets. So you have to add all of those numbers together, because Coke or root beer means Coke but not root beer, or root beer but not Coke, or both. And it has nothing to do with orange. Take a minute and add those up. I'm going to add them as well. I want to say it's 155, but I guess since I'm recording this, I better be sure. We got 45 plus 27 plus 8 plus 18 plus 25 plus 32. Yeah, 155. That's it. As I said to begin with, I just want to double check that's bothering me here. 155, not like to drink any of the three, only Coke. No, I think we're okay. I mean, you make mistakes, right? So I just wanted to double check. That's what I meant by this is a pretty quick lesson. There's not much to it. You just have to learn to look at all of the separate pieces. If I were to look at, for example, going back to here, and just, I'm going to talk briefly about all of these. It'll only take a minute. This is the number who drank only Coke. This is the number who drank Coke and orange but not root beer. This is the number that drank Coke and root beer but not orange. These guys drank root beer and orange but not Coke. These are root beer only, these are orange only, these are all three, and this region is none. But if I said how many drank Coke, you have to understand that this whole thing can be used to find the number who drank Coke. If I just said how many drank Coke, you have to add those up. How many drank root beer? You have to add these up. How many drank orange? You have to add these up. And that's why I said to begin with, when it says here, 100 drank orange, that doesn't mean they didn't drink other stuff. You don't know until you do the Venn diagram. That is it. There's your assignment. I only have a few students this semester, but we're basically done the unit, and you need to make sure that you touch base with me or come into the building at West Country Outreach to get two things: to get an assignment that has to be completed before you write your exam, and to write a quiz. And the quiz is going to be on set theory as well as a little bit of Venn diagrams, but it's mostly on sets, which are lessons 1 and 2. And then the quiz is mostly on Venn diagrams. Anyway, that's it. In the meantime and in between time, take care, and I hope to see you soon.